Welcome back, Rage Nation. This is Dixon. I am here talking top 10 best enforcers. And the way that I actually did this is I took best bang for your buck, meaning both dollars and soulstones. These are just obviously my take, but I took them across every single faction. Now, why did I do this? Mostly because every single time that I talk about it in the podcast, they always come up as like, oh, this is by far one of the best. This is probably gonna be in almost every list. And it does matter for a lot of newer players trying to figure out how to make lists. So we decided we're gonna make some top 10 lists to make the decisions a lot easier for everybody. If this actually starts picking up and people actually enjoy it, we'll probably go into each individual faction and then go top 10 also for each one. So please let us know in the comments down below. Now, before we continue in the top 10, I need to say a couple of honorable mentions. Why? Because although they didn't make the cut, technically these models are so insanely good that I have to mention them. So honorable mentions go to the Dead Rider and the Mysterious Emissary. Now, why the Dead Rider and Mysterious Emissary is because Dead Rider, we talked about it with Cackle. That thing is insane. The fact that it can do AoE injure, the fact that it basically takes any model that it wants from like 10 inches or 9 inches away. It can ride with me. It's just insane. Even the little bit of triggers that he gets on the bonus action, the special bonus action, is also insane. Because randomly he could technically start summoning a whole bunch of mindless zombies, and if I remember correctly, he also has the best. He does have the best three. Suit trigger of all the riders, which is he gets a free attack within 6 inches. That's nuts. That's just straight nuts. He gets to attack 3 times before you even buff him, and minimum damage 3 2-inch reach. I mean, seriously, what else can you talk about that, right? That being said, as we'll talk about the other ones, he just didn't quite make the cut because he is very melee oriented, and as all riders have the same weakness, if you put stun on him, he kind of goes down very fast. Now, the secondary honorable mention that we mentioned is Mysterious Emissary. Now, why? Since I've always talked about the Mysterious Emissary as like very near to like the Hodgepodge Emissary in terms of power, why is he not in the top 10? Honestly, this guy is just like super nuts in like 3 crews, and that is the sad part. I had to think about it for a while. He is super nuts in those 3 crews, namely Titania, Swamp Fiend, and Lucius, because you can copy his attack on Lucius, you can obey in Swamp Fiend, and you'll always have terrain and feed into the rest of what Titania wants to do with the Hungering Lands. As anybody that has played against it, Hungering Lands are just super nuts. They slow people down, they damage people down. One single attack from this guy, well placed, hitting like 2 or 3 models, pretty much ends any like sort of like combat that you can do against him. So yes, that's the reason why I had to put him in. Now, to the actual top 10 in the list, I had to put number 10, Pale Rider. Now, why did I have to put the Pale Rider over the Dead Rider? Mainly, it's just the 4 trigger in the Pale Rider. His gun, amazing. You know, he can reach out way farther than the Pale Rider. I mean, the Dead Rider. And the Dead Rider, you know, obviously with the moving people around, is also insane. He can actually move, like term in the game. But the Pale Rider, he can take 2 pot shots at people and stagger them or injure them. He can also do the AoE, do 2 irreducible damage on everybody and set them on fire. Now, he also has Ride with Me, just like every other rider. He can heal people with his pulse, and I mean, he's just stat 6, ruthless. Like, this guy is just slightly, like, he edges out the Dead Rider just slightly because he can just touch people farther out than the Dead Rider. and there's just as much support for him than there is for the Dead Rider. And for those reasons, out of all the riders, I chose the Pale Rider. Now, doesn't say anything bad about the Dead Rider. As we talked with Cackle, he's just also an incredible buy. You can just get so much value out of both of them. So it's basically, if you're playing Guild, hey, enjoy that he's edging out one of the best enforcers in the game in the Dead Rider. And if you're in Rezzers, hey, you have no other option, but the option is freaking amazing. So that being said, for all those reasons, damage reduction, all that stuff. Now, why is he 10th and not any higher? He's 11 points. And if you want to give him a upgrade, he's 13 points. And then if you want to have one of the best buffers for him, he's now getting to 20 points between two models in an upgrade. That's the reason why he's not higher in the list. But he's still a fantastic model, and he can actually turn those actions and any of those special abilities into points very easily. Now, number 9, and this one took me a while as do I really want to put this guy above anybody else? And really, he did. He edged out all the riders. Jin Baccara from the Explorer Society. Why is he amazing? Holy guacamole. This man does... He fixes your opponent's hand draw thingy. He gives you a pass token. He can randomly appear right next to a minion, which minions are back on the table because now you need more actions, and minions, they're cheap forms of actions. So he's gotten even more value in this GG. He ignores concealment and friendly fire. Actually, he doesn't ignore them. He gets bonuses for it. So that's even more ridiculous. Enemy intel and ink tip dart can't be... Actually, none of his abilities can't be ignored. Dispose evidence can deny a scheme, and he easily can draw cards because, again, in this GG, scheme markers, super important. Jin Baccara eats them up. And yeah, he dies to a stiff priest, but he's only 7 points. 7 points. 8 out of keyword. I cannot stress how often I reach for this guy outside of keyword when I was playing Explorers. He's not a auto include, but holy crap, did he fix so much when I was playing him. So yeah, for that reason, Jin Baccara, you are number 9 in the top 10 best enforcers. I mean, I really, he beat the writers in my head. That's so weird. Number 8, this is kind of odd because I expected him to be higher, but it's Beau Fishbacker. Beau Fishbacker from Bayou. Number 8 in this list. Now, why did I have to go for Beau? First of all, let's go with the pros. He is, I guess, the best healer in faction for the Bayou. He's just straight up. He's a good healer. He can move people around. He can put up a hazardous aura right next to a scheme marker that is not hazardous. So if you want to, you can just say, hey, that scheme marker, he's now has an aura 1 of do 1 damage. And it just breaks up fights all the time. And then he has additionally, he has good stats with a defense 6 and depths of Malifaux, so he ignores hazardous as well, just, by existing. And on top of that, he can push people around. So if you cheat around him once per activation, he just pushes you 1 inch. If he activated first, which usually if combat is getting a little bit heated, end of turn doesn't really affect, but first turn, once he's already back in the fight, he'll activate, put up a hazardous, heal up somebody that was in the fight, and just stay around. And it forces people to they have to be in base-to-base contact with him. If you're a not 2-inch reach, then you have to walk up to him to then attack him once, to then he'll push you away. I just can't stress enough how good his 6-inch aura pushing people around is. So yeah, for that reason, Beau Fishbacker, number 8 on my list. Amazing model. If you're playing Bayou, there's no reason for me not to tell you, go buy Beau Fishbacker right now. It's just that good of a model, right? Now, number 7. From 10 Thunders, Song Wukong. Again, another model, like Jin Baccara, that I just reach for regardless of what I was playing. I played him in McCabe, and the main reason for it is because him and Desper would just go out on missions, and then I would pick something like, say, In Your Face, and because him and Desper would be 8 points exactsies, then I would pick nothing else that was 8 points, more than 8 points, and still do well because you can get an 8 point minion and still do amazing in McCabe because McCabe just gives +1 to all stats to all minions, right? Effectively because of how the upgrades work. So yeah, some Wukong, if he dies and you don't have anti-demise or anti-heals, he'll come right back at the end of the game or the following turn and just ruin your life. He can get out of combat very easily. He has extended reach. He just denies just a whole bunch of stuff just by having a 2-inch reach. Like, this model's insane. Just straight insane, especially against like melee crews. But like, he can just be anywhere on the table because of how he works. He can just like displace you as well. He'll grab like a good support model and just grab him, push within a certain corner of the map just by himself, leave the model over there, and just go and do his own thing because he doesn't need to kill the model. He just displaces something, scores some points from BPs, and he's done. And then he has like added bonuses that make it so that he doesn't fail in well verse. Like 99% of the time, whenever I'm doing well verse, it's just to make sure that my once per turn ability doesn't fail. Like, if I really want this attack to go off, I look up, as like, is it a black joker? No, cool, we can actually go now. Again, model is insane. One of the best purchases you can make for a 10 Thunders players. He just scores points, and he's not even a henchman. So for a whole bunch of the schemes, he wouldn't even give points because he's not a henchman. All right, number 6, J-5 from Arcanists. He's a versatile model. He did not get nerfed. If anything, he got buffed. This man displaces crews, hits like a brick house, and makes a whole bunch of crews that like to spread out love, not necessarily want to do that when they're nearby him, because getting 3 actions makes him kind of dangerous. And like the Gearlings, just having him around is like really good passively. And like the Gearlings are already like best minions in the game right now. Bang for the buck, best minions in the game. So this guy is like even better because he now comes in the same box as the Gearlings. So you get extra mobility, anti-condition tech, hits like a brick house. Like, he hits like a freight train if you're targeting somebody that has like lower defense. Heck, even if you're hitting somebody that's like defense 5, that's fine, because if at any point in time you hit them with a focus attack at a flip, that's a straight flip, like it just like you start seeing stars. And I've seen him more often than not that like he'll always have focus. Like, it's stupid that he always has focus, because if you get focus to anybody else within 6 that's a friendly model, then he also gets it. He's great, just great buy. You also get the Gearlings in the same box. Get some J5 love. Number 5, we'll go back to the Rezzers, and we go to the Corpse Curator. Now, why this model? Well, this model just activates pretty much anything in any crew that he's ever been. If you're playing Wastrel, he's amazing. He just activates all the card draw. He activates all the remove a scrap or corpse and do X crazy nasty thing. Guy's amazing. And in Rezzers, who doesn't want to have a corpse around? Like, he by himself, he can just be like, oh, okay, so you need a corpse path to midline. All right, well, the Death Rider is going to like put him in the middle. Or, oh, this dog is going to take this corpse all the way out there and then just drop it in the middle of nothing. Like, it's nuts. This model is nuts. He activates a lot of stuff. He comes with his own terrain, basically, because he just have to have a low crow, if I remember correctly. Like, this thing is nuts. Like, just straight up get this model as soon as you can and just start looking for combos, because more often than not, you're just going to start finding anything left, right, and center for him. All right, so number 4, we get my personal favorite in Neverborn, the Kurgan. Now, everybody and their mothers thinks that I've been memeing whenever I mention this guy. No. Any person, every person, like, if you play this guy, after 5 minutes of like rearranging crews, because like that's the thing. If you absolutely positively have to deliver a beater into the enemy crew, accept no substitute. This man, it's just insane. I just can't stress enough the combination between his front of the car ability shifting earth and avalanche on the other side and heave on his melee attack. I've gone into a scrum with mudslide, like activate mudslide, shift, hit somebody with it. I mean, if they fail the 14, you can move them, and then he can smack a friendly with heave, do 2 damage, hopefully, and then displace them also 3 inches, or hit them with avalanche. Like it's insane because like avalanche doesn't ignore concealing, but if you have a low ram, then you can do heave. Like again, I just this thing is insane. Just wow. Kudos to Wyrd for not making him like also like defensively super broken, because like every now and then I think about him and be like, yeah, I wish it had planted roots, but I don't want to give up anything else on this model, so you can stay the way you are, friend. So yeah, number 4 on the list, Kurgan. Not even for hitting anything, it's just he just displaces so much stuff on the battlefield. You know, good job, buddy. Like I couldn't put you on number 3 because like the top 3 are just, dang, they're so good. But yes, you're up there, friend. All right, number 3, and this probably will be a little bit. Again, I wish I would put him higher, but like the top 2 are just edge out Arrrchie. Resurrectionists, they got 2, possibly 3, depending on how you see the Dead Rider in the top 10. So they got some of the best enforcers in the game by, you know, just the fact that they're doing so much work. Like they do probably 5 points above their own pay grade. And Arrrchie fits here. He cannot be stopped basically unless you kill him. If you actually do any effect that would quote unquote kill him, like say execute, you're probably healing him instead. Whenever he's beating you down, he's also healing himself because again, flurry. Like this thing, we talked about it with Cackle. Please listen to that episode with Cackle because there's so much information about why Arrrchie is insane. This is probably like, you could probably buy just Molly's box just for him and it would be worth it. That's how stupid insane he is as a model, right? So again, listen to that podcast. It'll explain in more detail by a much better player why Arrrchie's insane. But number 2, and these are the top 2, and I know that I said that it's not based on cost and stuff, but the Coryphee Duet. This model breaks some of the most basic rules of the game just by being able to reactivate himself or itself or themselves. Like it's just wow. Not only do they hit really hard because they have critical strike 2, 4, 5, but they also have blade rush, so they can do incidental free damage for no reason at all. Which is one of the main. They are one of the main reasons why Hinamatsu is such a viable choice as a leader in Neverborn for any combat-specific crews. She can heal if necessary, but not really like her forte. Yeah, no, this model is just straight up insane. The Coryphee Duet is just so flipping gross that you might just have to buy the box if you're playing Arcanists, just for that, like randomly be like, oh, I need a beater that can also scheme and also reactivate and throw my opponent, you know, because like sometimes the opponent doesn't have anything that attacks willpower or movement, and even when they activate movement, when they attack movement, like this thing is insane. So if they attack willpower, oh no, look at this thing. It's still armor 2. So like if you're playing against something like say specifically Dreamer or Yanlo 2, then it's bad. But if you're playing against most other crews in the game, she's defense 7, armor 2. Again, this thing by itself, I've seen it like just add this tsunami, not even like just bulldoze through people. It's just gross. It is straight gross. That it can activate twice, that it can do so much damage, that it can scheme, that it can move so freely. Yeah, for that reason, number 2. So that being said, what could possibly be higher than all of these, right? Well, we already talked about the mysterious emissary. You guys know that I feel very strongly about it. But the number one, it's gotta be the Hodgepodge Emmisary. Hodgepodge Emmisary is just game winning. Like any average player can get like 2 to 3 VPs from the Hodgepodge Emissary. It stops fights like sometimes just like immediately. If nobody can just somehow alpha this, it is just gonna snowball. Like it's just so ridiculously overbearing. Now, why is it ridiculously overbearing? Well, it's just two abilities, really. It is, well, that's not true. There's like 5 different things on this card. The 2 big ones, though, are the upgrades that it hands out, because honestly, it's already suited in the heal, so you can just heal somebody even if you're not actually healing them and give them an upgrade. And all 3 upgrades do actually something amazing. You can companion if you want to beat down on somebody. You can give regen if you actually want a beater / tank to stay on the fight even longer. Like this thing with Eric is just gross sometimes, because Eric is like, oh, I'm armor 2, now I'm regen 1, and on top of that, when I activate, I heal a life. Yay! But the other one, the reason why I win so many games, is a Weary Road. So like, those things are amazing, right? By itself. Weary Road, move you 3 inches, drop a scheme marker. It doesn't seem like a lot whenever you're starting in the game, but it wins games. Just like out of pocket, it'd be like, oh, okay, so just move over there, drop a scheme marker. Oh, now I have these 2 schemes online. So you have to do something about it or I will win. And then, so do that for a bonus action. And it can then throw junk, slow somebody because it has slow on the trigger. So it means that they now have an action less to stop the model that just moved 3 inches and dropped the scheme marker. And that alone, that just like little difference, sometimes by itself wins games. Because that's a VP that you cannot deny. And it's probably a VP that you also can't create, because now that you're slow, you don't have enough actions to actually get to the opponent and do the mission. Like strategy plus schemes is usually like, let's say, this is an example, it's not like actually true, but like, say you have like 3 actions necessary to go to a certain scheme. If I stun you, now your actions are 2. And if I slow you after that, now your actions are 1. You probably just lost the game. I didn't kill you, but you probably just lost the game. And that's what this guy can do. Just, he facilitates so much of the game that I just can't help but love it and hate it at the same time. Then to everybody out there, if you're playing Outcasts, buy this model first and then pick a crew. Alright? And as always, flip cards, flip tables, and we'll see you all later. Bye.